Good afternoon, guys. It's Naveen joining call. Can you guys hear me? Could you please type in the chat window? Great, thank you. Thank you, Rahul. Just give me one moment here. Sharing the screen again. Okay. So, hope you guys had a good weekend and hope you guys had a good break after the last week, guys. I think we were looking into the Sonar Cube and Jenkins. We installed it. I think it was, I remember I also played around with it yesterday, with Jenkins, but today, for some reason, I just noticed I'm not able to access it. I was doing a little bit of troubleshooting and things like that, guys. We'll continue our journey with Sonar Cube. I actually wanted to show you the code analysis of a Python project, but suddenly I ran into this problem today, and I'm trying to fix this one. So we'll try to do a little bit of troubleshooting and things like that, guys, okay? Rahul, from your side, have you made any changes to our Sonar Cube or anybody? Have any one of you made any changes to that server?
No, sir. But it is running, it is accessible over that port 80. I have changed.
Pardon me? It's accessible?
Yeah, it is accessible over the port 80. Can you check again?
One moment, please. And you're using public IP, right?
Yes, it's public IP.
And let's see. Oops. Is it 184.72.97.8? Rahul?
Yeah, 107.22.132.168.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong server. Just give me one moment. Oh, there you go. Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So that is the problem. I was actually looking at another server instead of this one. And that's why. Okay, sorry about that. So that kind of, I was wondering it was working yesterday. Thank you, Rahul. Sorry about that again.
Okay.
I think we can bring it up on your screen, Rahul. We'll continue with some of the Python stuff and the Sonar Cube analysis using the Python project on your screen, if you have it up.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Bring up the Jenkins login as an admin.
Password was
admin. You can check the box, okay? So I've been playing around with a few projects and things like that. We'll try to recreate some of the stuff and try to understand. And let's see, go bring up the Git bash, please. And are you already logged in? Is that the private IP?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Let's see, I have already downloaded it somewhere. Let's see what it is. I think, can you do a find /-name and PySpark? Can you grab, do find /-name space -name? Sorry, find slash space. Yeah, so space -name. Space -name, name, NAME. No, remove the hyphen A. And space PySpark. Enter, please. I'll just do it as sudo or login as root. Sudo is, you can log in as root and do it so that we don't have to. Just say Spark instead of PySpark. Pardon me. Strange. One moment, let me see. Where am I? Python is installed. Python project, okay. Go back to Jenkins UI. And let's say click on new item. Select the freestyle project. And PyProj, just give a name, let's say PyProj 2 or something like that. Click on OK. Just give the description as Python sonar analysis.
Python sonar
analysis. Scroll down a little bit and click on the checkbox. Check the checkbox where you see restrict where this project can be run. Label expression, just give something like my machine. Then scroll down. Under build environment, delete workspace before build starts. And scroll down under the build. Let's see, execute shell. And this, I'll send these two commands to you, putting it in the chat window, copy paste these two things. It's two lines. Okay, then click on save. And say workspace, you will know. It's the dashboard. Yeah, sorry. Click on the dashboard again. And where's our thing? We just created PyTorch, right? One more time, click on the PyTorch too. Click on configure. left-hand side. And we have restrict where is okay. No agent or cloud matches the, did you mean the my machine instead of my machine? No agent or cloud matches my machine. Just change it to my hyphen machine like the way that it is saying. Yeah. Yeah, that one. And let me see. Under source code management, select Git. And I'll give you this one. I'll paste the GitHub address. Ideally, this can be any Python application. Paste this one. Into the the Git repository, paste this one. Okay, no credentials are needed. Under the build, scroll down. Build triggers, scroll down. Keep scrolling down. You should see just build. Scroll down one more step. Okay, we have already. Click on add build step. And let's say, we already have the Sonar Cube Scanner. So just select execute Sonar Cube Scanner. Okay. And scroll down, please. Additional documents, GVM, Postgres. Click on save. Okay, now we need to go back to the Git bash. And just do a find name. And this time look for sonar-python.properties. Sonar-python.properties. .properties. Okay, and what we need to do is, so we've given sonar-python, okay. Let's see, one moment, let me come back here. So what are we doing? We're doing fine, so fine, good. Sonar-python. I played around with these things, so I'm just okay, I do have it here. There's this one. So sonar-project.properties, sorry, sonar-project buddy, sorry. Let's see, where is it? It's under SQ-Flask. Go to that directory, please. SQ-Flask. Go to the directory. SQ-Flask here. Okay, just look at the list of files. Cat, the Sonar project properties. Okay. So if you open up that GitHub that I pasted, open up that GitHub location, please, in a new tab or window. Scroll down. So if you scroll down a little bit, this is just a game. They should have a screenshot here. Scroll down. So that's how you generally run. And when this game runs, this keeps moving around. I don't exactly know. I have never really played. If you spend some time, I'm sure we all will be able to figure it out. That's what this is. If you scroll up, back up, this is just a screenshot of how it looked like, and we'll try to bring that up. So in other words, a development team has come up with this kind of a project, and ideally they would hand it over to you and imagine a scenario where they plugged it into something called GitHub, a common thing. So if you now go into resources directory here, let's say demographics here, I think all the images and that kind of things are there. Just dig into one or two directories, get a quick feel of it. Any one thing is okay. Go into demo. So that's a PNG of their images, and say, okay, click on that. Okay, so these are the images. Now, if you go back again, go into the graphics directory. Again, a few more images, as simple as that. Ideally, we don't care what images they have, what is the things like that. So go back again. We just need to make sure we're deploying it, it's running and things like that. Back again. Go into source. And this is again the source code written by them. Just dig into maybe, let's say, main.py. Okay, so they're importing, loading the screen and things like that. They have something like a control and things like that. And these are all the different kinds of functions and so on, which are working on a browser at a slightly high level. Look, we don't have to go into the technical details of those functions and things like that. So control, some kind of a control which works on a browser is what this one is. Scroll, go back. And go back again. And just click on main.py. Okay, this is just starting the PG is the Pygame. So that is what we are going to be installing. When we do a build now, Jenkins will install the Pygame, and it will end up triggering this main.py, in which a main function is automatically called, and the main function will start running. That's how it should work at a slightly Python developer's point of view. Okay, so that is the GitHub location. Now come back to Git bash.
So actually what we are doing, I'm not able to understand.
We are taking this Python application. We are going to do the SonarQube code coverage analysis.
Okay.
This is sample one. Another sample two is a PySpark application, a slightly more detailed one. These are the two tasks that we are right now trying to look at. Okay.
So we are not deploying anything, just checking using the SonarQube.
Yeah, we are going to deploy this into
Okay.
Jenkins/SonarQube. Once you say in Jenkins build, Jenkins will pull the source code. It will build it, and then we will go into SonarQube, and it will analyze the source code.
Okay.
Code coverage analysis and things like that.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say, so there's app.py test.py. I don't think, so let's see what I have done it here. Okay. Okay, I think I've taken a slightly more detailed one here. I probably removed the old settings and so on. The IP address, does that look right? 132.168 is right, correct, right?
Yeah, this one is correct.
That is the public IP of where we have the, so 9000 is for the SonarQube, if you recall.
Yes, it is for Sonar.
Good. Sonar sources is dot means the current directory. Okay. So ideally, I should have given the source Python. Acha, sample Python project. What we'll do, okay. So go back to Jenkins. We have given this one, right? Back to configure. So scroll down, please. One moment, please. Okay. So build actions, post build actions. No, sorry about that. One more time back to git bash. And let's see. Make a backup of the sonar project.properties to, let's say, sonar project properties.backup or something like that. Copy it to a backup file. So we'll just keep that as a backup. Now in this one, vi the sonar project.properties will change the project key to from sample Python proj1 to pytorch2. Sample project key is your project name. PyTorch space 2. I think TORCH, right? You haven't given TOUR. Just check in the Jenkins.
TORCH.
And change the sonar.project base directory to sqflask / where are we? We are actually pulling it from the GitHub, right? Sonar. So this I'm pulling from the GitHub directly. Just copy paste the git location instead of the project base directory. It already has we've already given it, but I'm just thinking if I need to give the project base directory, I can't seem to recall. Ideally, I would download it.
Should I remove all this?
Yeah. Okay, and host URL is good. Login. Go back to the Jenkins and click on PyTorch2 and let's say Sonar Cube. Click on configure. Oh, it's bringing back here. Wow, it's 2 or 3 days. Back to click on the dashboard. Click on my views, loggable resources. The dashboard. Scroll up, please. That's it, right? Don't have anything.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, scroll up, please. You're on the dashboard. Manage Jenkins, sorry. Click on Manage Jenkins. And oh, that's because I uploaded a bunch of files and things like this. Okay, scroll down. Then security, manage, click on Manage Credentials. Middle, yeah. There's Jenkins, and let's say Sonar Jenkins SQ-token2. Scroll up. Credentials. Somewhere here, new I am. Where is it? Somewhere you should be able to create a new. Click on new items on the left-hand side. No, not this one. Scroll back, go back. We just need to create a new token. Stored copies. Scroll up, buddy. Where are you scrolling down? Stored, okay. That is again the same thing. Strange. My views. Go back to just click on back. Manage credentials, configure credentials. And let's say, strange. Somewhere I'm creating a credentials here. Back again. Configure global security. No. Shoot. These are some of the settings we just need to be familiar. Sorry about that. Credentials. Yeah, there you go. I think that's the one. Click on that. Same thing. And we are logged in as admin. So I was expecting somewhere here a plus. So where is that? There you go, buddy. Scroll up, please. Scroll up. If you see some icons on the right-hand side by the side of admin and things like that, you should see somewhere here. Look for a plus somewhere over here, buddy. On the right-hand side top corner. Right-hand side top corner. See if any of them have a plus. Builds, configure, no. Click on the left side. There is that exclamation thing. There is the exclamation thing, right?
Yeah.
I think when you go back, somewhere here on the right-hand side, I noticed there was a plus here. Put your cursor on that exclamation, the 2. What does it say? There's 1 active, 2 administrative monitors. Okay. Strange. Shoot. I just created a token and don't give me one moment here. 68. Dashboard Jenkins. See that here.
Yeah, you did the one.
Add new token. Once I go into configure, oops, where are you? Say, yeah. Scroll down, please. Credentials, email. Add new token is there, no? Under API token, there is an add new token.
Yes.
Click on add new token. Default name, just say Sonar Python 2. -Python 2. Click on generate. Copy this, copy that. And paste it, come back to the git bash. And you see the sonar.login, paste it there. Okay. So that is the login it's going to use. It's an authentication token for it for Jenkins and Sonar. Once it builds, it will also allow the Sonar to pick up the code and do the code coverage, is what it is. Coverage.xml. Okay, now we'll look at that one. Sonar.inclusions is not needed. Exclusions is okay. Yeah. So we need to look at the coverage and results. So write and quit. And just cat do an cat on coverage.xml. Okay. So ideally, scroll up, line hits, coverage brand. Okay. App.fire line ratings and things like that. Okay. Cobertura. Okay. So this is like a file which it's just telling Sonar what are all the things that it needs to be taken up, the complexity and the attributes and things like that. Ideally, these are all determined at an architect level, not by us or anybody, but that is just to give you an idea. They will configure these attributes and things like that, which will tell what are all the things which need to be looked at in the code, what to coverage, what not to cover, and things like that. Scroll down, please. They will configure all these things. That is just to give you an idea. Then cat the results.xml. Okay. Okay, this I think is going to be the result. Whatever is result is going to be entered out here. Now let me see. Now LSLTR. And cat one more time. Sonar project properties. Okay, and let's see. May come back here and see. So Sonar scanner is under the directory. When we install Sonar, it is here. So let me copy this one. Copy this one. I'm going to paste this into the chat window. Copy this one, and we need to make changes here.
Do we need to save this also? Yeah.
Yes, save this, please. Apply and save it. Okay. Now come back to copy this thing that I've sent you.
Where, sir?
Copy this one, paste here, or before pasting it, just paste into text editor. Modify the login to whatever we have in the properties file. Okay. And whatever is that, I think it should be the project key is right now, sample Python project one, right? That should be PyTorch space 2. Copy that. I think you have it as PyTorch space 2.
I think
Yeah.
I need to change there also.
Passing the arguments here, ideally, they will automatically override the one in the file, but that's okay. PyTorch space 2. And
should I change here also in this file?
Yeah, you can change it there. Even if you don't change, I think we should be good, but just go ahead and change it. Cool. And now back to this text editor. So under the root, under the temp Jenkins agent, under tools, there is this plugin. So when we install the SonarQube plugin from the Jenkins, this is where it installed. Sonar runner installation directory, SonarQube scanner. Under that, there's a bin, and under there is the Sonar scanner file. That is the one. So for that's like the binary file for which we are passing all these things, and dsonar sources equals to dot we are doing. So what we'll do is, why don't you say git clone in, right there, say git clone and copy paste that GitHub one that I sent you. Give me one moment. Sorry about that. The clone got it, and go into the directory Python Super Mario. And ls ltr. Okay, so here is the source, and everything is here. So what we need to do is go back one step, back to SQ Flask directory. Cat the Sonar project properties. Okay, the project sonar.sources is a dot, which is not the correct directory, but dot slash, whatever the name of the directory, Python Super Mario is what you change it. Sonar sources. Under the project-based directory, okay, Python Super Mario there. Just say Python Super Mario. Instead of the project-based directory giving the GitHub location, give the full path of that directory. I think it's under root.temp/, come out of it and go back in, whatever is that directory, you copy and paste it there. Do a pwd. So it's in /SQ Flask, right? So what project-based directory will be /SQ Flask /Python Mario Super Mario. Do a vi. So back to okay. Project-based directory. Okay. It was to sample key login. Okay. Write and quit.
Is this correct?
Yeah, / Python Super Mario. Yeah, looks good. Write and quit. Okay. Now go back to your text editor. I think what you can do is we don't even need the sources and we just need the host URL. So copy the whole thing, paste it below one more time, just as a backup, and we'll remove all those things which are not necessary. Yeah, paste it and remove the sources, remove the project keys, okay. Just remove the sources, buddy. Copy that whole thing and run it.
Should I paste here?
Yeah. Run it. Enter. Find memory, okay. So let's say not authorized, please check in the sonar.login and sonar.password. I see. Come back here. Okay. Why don't you give, let me try this one. Host URL is okay. Login, we'll use this one. I'm copying and pasting the login. Okay. Paste it here. Change login to this one. Okay, try running it. PyTorch 2 base directory. Oh, PyTorch 2 is there in Jenkins and Python. .python supermenu, we gave it here as local folder. So, oh no, maybe directly running, right? Okay.
Maybe it is already taking that directory here, distinct this directories.
One moment, okay. So there you go. Can you get the backup file? Sonar project backup that we created. So go back to the file and instead of giving it as PyTorch 2, change it to Python Super Mario. Project key rank. Just copy the Python Super Mario. No. Keep that like that. The project key instead of PyTorch 2, change that to Python Super Mario. Remove the dot and the slash. Create and quit. Now try running it. And but it does not exist for PyTorch 2 as Q Flask. So did you get the proper one?
Yes, and maybe it is not taking, maybe it is searching inside this directory for this directory also.
Base directory is SQ Flask. I see. Okay, then change the base directory to just SQ Flask. Oh, why is it referring to PyTorch 2? Strange. Yeah, I think. SQ Flask, okay. Okay, let's see. Malformed key for project. Okay, so it made little progress. Malformed, so it's this time complaining with the key. And
maybe it is not allowing that space.
Malformed key for PyTorch 2. Can you go back to Jenkins? And let's say name is SQ-token2 credentials. Keys. Something is sync here. So token. This navigation is sensitive here. Say credentials. Click on it. Okay. So I just need to make sure I'm giving the right credentials here. One moment. Tried this, I think, 1 or 2 days back. Strange. Looks like I did not make a note of some of the things I've done, but give me one moment here. Are you running it again?
I have removed that space which was there.
Oh, good. Okay. So now go ahead and analysis is successful. You can browse. There you go. Good one there. You can try to browse that URL, the first URL, not the second one. First one here. The main branch has no lines of code. Okay. So I think we did not give the right reference of the directory somewhere, the project-based directory or something. Go back to sonar.properties.
Where, sir?
Back in Git Bash.
Okay.
VI before you do a VI, go into this Super Mario, Python Super Mario. then list it. And I think we need to give source, go into source, list it. Okay, so I think we'll give source as the sources. Now go back to the parent directory where you have the sonar.properties via the file. And sonar.sources, you have ./Python Super Mario, right? Add a slash and put a source. Source. So all the source Python files are there. Yeah, that's it. Now try running it. Try running it. Okay. Try to access the first URL. Maybe you can just refresh now. No. Click on issues. Yeah. So in other words, since it is, click on measures. You shouldn't see anything. How about code? Let's see if it's finding anything here. So in other words, it's not detecting any files. So I think somewhere the reference to the file is not being happening properly. But back to the Git bash.
I think in Jenkins we haven't mentioned that proper Git bash.
What is it?
In the Git in the Jenkins we haven't mentioned that directory correctly in that project.
Jenkins. So in Jenkins, if we do, we're automatically hooking it up. The moment you say build now, it should pick up from the GitHub and things like that. Whereas here, we are manually running it. We're not hooking up from the Jenkins, is what it is, Rahul. So okay. What I'm trying to show you is, if you manually run it, what I wanted to show you was the code coverage analysis, how it looks like and things like that is what it is. Later, we can try to figure out how the build now is hooked up and things like that to the GitHub.
Okay.
What it is, but let's see. Just come out of this file. Exit this, and hold on one moment. Let me try to access this one. You're in SQ class. Let's say /SQ hyphen. And let's say sonar. Okay. Looks like what you do, copy the sonar, copy the sonar project properties.backup back to sonar project .properties. We'll copy that file back. Oops. Sonar project properties cat. Too many arguments. CP, buddy. CP.
Oh, sorry.
It is CD. Okay. And cat it. And okay. So under SQ Flask, there is this directory called Learning Spark Examples. Go to the directory. Yeah. List it. Okay. So bunch of Python files. What I did was earlier, I just did a git clone of this one to this directory. So imagine a scenario where your developers have their source code in the GitHub. And ideally, you would do a git clone and you download all the files, just like what we did for the Python Super Mario, but somewhere the reference is missing there. Catching it, Rahul?
Yes, yes.
So now, if you look in the Sonar properties, we gave sample Python proj1, that is some name you have defined. The project base directory, all the Python files are here. Sources means we need to run, when we run that for Sonar scanner, we need to go into this particular directory and run it, is what I'm expecting it. The rest of the things are just kind of, we briefly looked at it. So in other words, for you, from your standpoint, imagine we have some kind of source code, whether it's Node.js, Python, or whatever it is. You do git clone, you get it. Once you get it, you need to know, you need to feed it to Sonar scanner. And once the Sonar scanner runs, it needs to, we should be able to slightly look into the code coverage analysis. We need to have an understanding of it. That is most of the time what is expected of you, Rahul. Are you with me so far?
Yeah. But during this CI/CD, how it works? Like, what is the flow of this task?
So ideally, what will happen is when somebody is checking in a single file, when a single developer or multiple developers are checking in Jenkins, it will be automatically picking it up. It will automatically pick up. It will start doing the build. Once the build is done, it will be parallelly the code coverage analysis will be done. Once the code coverage analysis is done, we will look at the results and say, hey, here is code smells, here is vulnerability issue, here is this issue. You don't have to go too deep into it, but you need to have a rough idea. For example, a code smell is maybe a small loop which was not coded properly. That's what I was about to show you. But since you asked me, and maybe a vulnerability is maybe they are calling some kind of a secure infrastructure IP address, which they are not supposed to. It's something like that.
Okay.
Is another example. Another example is you suddenly look at a loop which is infinite loop, and you just need to add a break. So this is kind of a rough things. We will quickly call the developer and we will say this is what we are understanding from our code coverage analysis is what we generally do. Okay, that's what we'll try to do. So we're already in that directory. Now what we'll do is go back to that text editor. So Sonar scanner, instead of PyTorch 2, I think what is the project here? Sample Python proj1, back in your Git in that one. Copy that project sample. You already copied it, right? You already have the yeah, you already copied it. Okay. So go ahead and I think what you can do is if you go back to your text editor, you can run the below one. Instead of PyTorch 2, give project key as Python sample project, whatever that one is mentioned.
Sample project, or it is a
sample Python project.
Okay. This one.
Yeah. Okay. Now run it.
Login credential is this one. No?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Good memory. Okay. Okay, 0 bugs, securities, maintainability, and things like that. So click on issues. Okay, click on the first where it says rename function. Click on that. Can you zoom up your font? Okay, that's good. So they're saying import and it's complaining something about the partition CTR. It's suggesting us rename the function partition counter to match the regular expression. So that is like a rule somebody has built. It is like, imagine a scenario an architect is saying, when you have your functions, when anybody writes their functions, he wants them to follow a certain kind of a case, maybe a Pascal casing, maybe some kind of camel casing with some kind of alpha and numeric things only. He doesn't want something like that one. So what is that? That is a rule, which is, these are some global rules which are available by default. So that is what it is indicating. It's suggesting you better rename this one. You're catching the point.
Yes.
So that is the first one. Then if you look at the second one, it says rename this local variable sum count to match again the regular expression. So again, one more. So like that, an architect will ideally look at the low-level details of all these things. There will be tens and tens of these things. You can have a quick look at this and say, hey, these are some of the issues. How many of them? You will ideally, an architect will say, hey, some of these things are okay, some of these things are not okay, and things like that. He will say, for now, you can go ahead and even if these issues are there, it's okay, let's get it working. Most of the times what happens is, if the application is working, these things can be looked at in a background, in another branch and things like that. But this is how you look at it. You try to understand things like that. Now, what is a code smell? A code smell is maybe as simple as a wrong way how the function is given a name, or maybe the casing is appearing and things like that. That is what is a code smell. Catching it?
Can you repeat this? What is this code?
Code smell is, let's say, partition CTR, and the rule is you need to code everything in such a way. So it is complaining something about the capital C.
Okay.
Partition capital CTR. So if you look at the regular expression, he's saying the first set of letters should be between A to Z. The second set of letters should be a combination of alpha and numeric. This guy does not have numeric there. So maybe if he changes that back to partition counter 1 or counter 2, the second row counter will now have the alpha and also the numeric.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure what the regular expression, but I'm just to give you an idea, I'm saying it looks alpha numeric. So if the guy goes back and changes that, makes that, next time it will not treat this as code smell when you do coverage analysis.
So code smell is a kind of error.
It's not an error, buddy. It is not. It is just. It's just smelling. It's just not looking good. Somebody functions to look good. It is not. It is not looking good. It is working. It means it is not working.
This is a kind of a recommendation, like changes.
Yeah. It's like a recommendation is what it is giving. So let's say if you take the next one, rename this local variable sum count to match the regular expression. Again, he's complaining about the naming convention. For some reason, the Sonar Cube is not suggesting to use that kind of sum count. Maybe they want something like a sum count 1, sum count 2, if at all. So it's saying don't use just, if you have a second word, sum is the first word, count is the second word. So maybe they don't want that second word to be count. They want it to be count 1 or count 2. If you go back to that file, if you rerun, if you change that one and rerun that, you'll probably, let's say we change that sum count back to sum count 1 or sum count 2 and rerun this, you may probably not get that as a code smell. What we need to do is, ideally, these are the things that the developers need to do tens and tens of times before they check in. And for them, your architect will give an idea. Hey, these are the coding standards we are following. You follow these coding standards and you keep checking in and things like that. Before it comes to you, these things should ideally be taken care of by the developers, not by you. For you, you have to have a high level look, quickly run it and say, hey, there are about 125 code smell issues. Are you okay with the architect? And if you say, can you show me some of them? Then you go into these things and you show it to them. You give a quick walkthrough. These are the code smell issues that we are appearing and things like that.
Okay.
Catching it, Rahul?
Yes.
Yeah, ideally, these are the developers who developers need to take care of these as the coding standards. An architect will decide what it is. So you need to show him what the global standards are. This is how you run a quick thing and you show a global thing.
Okay. And we can set this value also like AZ, AZ0. We can set this expression values like that, like custom values to check the code.
Ideally, what I would do is click on that C rule. There is something called C rule, right? Click on that. Okay, so let's say I'll come back to your question in a moment. So notice, will the default provided regular expression? This one, $2. So def my function of AB compliant solution is they're saying here the notice my function with a capital M and a capital F. The compliant solution is a small m and a small f.
Yes.
That is a code smell. So it is not that it's an error. They're just recommending, hey, this is how you write a function. Okay, now, if you're asking me from here, can I make that change? Generally, you don't do it. You don't make the change from here. You actually make the change in the source code. You go back to the file, you make the change there. Ideally, you make all your 10 or 20 change here. You go back to your file and you identify whichever that file is. Yeah, that one, cat it. So somewhere here, partition counter, there you go. You need to make this. So again, you will not make this one because if you make this one, then it might have a lot of dependencies on other files and things like that. A lot of other testing things needs to be done. Yes. You just have an idea saying that, hey, imagine who's it? Let's say Shubham is a developer and you'll say, hey, Shubham, I think this function, we are getting a code smell issue. Can you quickly look at it? Is what you would recommend. Catching it, and he's the one who will make the change.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm saying that can we make that customized rule based on our requirement?
Yes, yes. You will not make that, Rahul. Those are big. I mean, ideally, I think an architect should do that, buddy. You will not make those rules. You will not touch them. You are only. Yeah, those need a lot more than just creating the rules. Because
but architect can change it.
Yes, architect is the one who's the technical architect, or those are the guys who will generally set these rules. They will decide and things like that. Based on project timelines, project deadlines, the budget they have. Because if it's a small budget project, they will not look into all these things. They will first get the product up and running. Later, they will look at all these things.
Okay. Got it.
So that is how it generally works. Okay. So like that, now if you go back to the code smell screen, go back in this one. Yeah. And that is the issues. Click on issues one more time. Okay. Scroll down. So make sure that the command line arguments are used safely. So ideally, when you have some time, you spend some time on this one, look at each one. Try to look at the functions and see what is your understanding and things like that. And you can do that one. Click on security hotspot. So something it is complaining. So make sure that the command line arguments, click on any one of them. Okay, so sys.rb is a command line argument. And to review not assigned, click on C rule. Security hotspot. Okay, so ideally, this is just to give you an idea. We need to spend some good amount of time. That's where the architects will actually look at these things and try to identify if these are acceptable or not acceptable, because some programs have to be run on big data, some programs have to be run just on a single server, some at command line, some as in different modes and things like that. So they will go into these things, Rahul.
Yeah. Okay.
Not be us who will be worried about it. More precisely, not you would be worried, but just giving you an idea. Go back again or close this one. And let's see, click on measures. Okay, so there it is. It's giving a graphical, this thing, scroll down. So on a y-axis, you have coverage. On x-axis, you have technical debt. Technical debt. So that is kind of so debt is like a gap between the actually what is expected versus what is actually happening technically. And it's giving a slight visual indication. So green color is A. Notice as you're going from left-hand side to right-hand side, the colors are changing from green to red. I think it is most of them are green, which means none of them is like a showstopper. If you see any of them in the C, D, E, those are red colors. Red colors are, the risk is high, is what it is. So color, words of reliability rating and security rating, sizes, lines of code. So if you put your cursor on the big circle, on the big bubble on the right-hand side, big bubble. See that? So that is that file. What is that? That is lines of code. That's a very 95 lines of code. So that is where the bubble is big. And reliability rating is A, security rating is A, which means they are all in the green zone. Even though we have recommendations, it is okay. It is the recommending is what it is. But if we modify any code, if you introduce any error, then those red color things will come out. You can play around that later when you have some time and you manually introduce some errors and you run the code coverage and try to just get a feel of that, okay?
Yeah, so this percentage is helpful in CI/CD, right? If the percentage of the code is above this percent, then it will pass, something like that.
Like a threshold. I think I understand your question, but I don't know where to define the thresholds and things like that. I have not looked at that part of it, Rahul. Okay.
Okay.
But I see your question. Now click on the code, please. Okay, I think if you just click on any one of the files, it will show you the code just to get a quick feel so that you don't have to go to the source code repository. You don't have to be given the access to that. Here's the source code. You're looking at this and notice all those red color underlines. So the red color underline is what it is complaining. These are indirectly your code smells. Right away, you can say, hey, something is wrong here. It's complaining and things like that. So notice print average. That's a wrong Python syntax in the 3.0. It needs to have a bracket there. Print of average is what needs to. So that's like a error. It may not work in a 3.0. It will work in a 2.0. But again, that's a separate issue. But all those red lines is your quick way of catching and saying, okay, so let's say this is coming from developer Shubham. Another developer is Humera. And Humera doesn't have any of these things, whereas Shubham has all these things. You can say, hey, I looked at Humera's code also. And she seems to be following all of them. I did not see any code smell. You may want to follow her things. It's kind of a quick suggestion you may want to give as part of the conversation around. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, and then click on activity. Okay, I think this is just when you're running these things and so on. It's just giving a graphical view of charter and so on. Okay, so basically, whether it's a Python or whether it's a, I think it'll also catch the duplications of code and custom. This is where you can write the custom rules, add metric, and those are those are things we need to look deep into it. I wouldn't worry. I don't think you have to worry also. Yeah, those are things technical architects look at that. They have the time for that and things. That's what they're meant for. Okay, so whether it's a Python, Node.js, or Java or application and things like that, all we need to do is we need to be in the right directory. We need to run the Sonar and be able to run it. If at all it is integrated into Jenkins and things like that, ideally in Jenkins, we would go back to Jenkins, and if we go to give the GitHub location or the source code repository, when you say build now, or ideally, it will automatically trigger when somebody is checking in the code and a new build is being released. It will automatically trigger this one. And what you would do is you would go into Sonar Cube, the 9000 port number. That's where you will be looking at the things. You will directly access this one. You click on the project. You don't. You may not even need to admin. I think is the username and password. You may not even need to run it. But just for your understanding, we ran a manual Python project from the command prompt. Catching the problem.
Yeah, it will automatically happen through Jenkins.
True. So here you will ideally go to the projects and click on your project. PyTorch 2 or sample Python. And you'll get a feel of these things. There you go. That's a quick snapshot. 3.1%. Just click on that 3.1%. Does it give you anything?
It is unclickable.
Okay, I think you may need to go inside that one. There's some duplication of code and things like that. Those things can be, yeah. Click on that. Okay. And 50%, 50, whoa, that's deep there. Let's see, click on one of them. So the red colors is the line of code and some code smells here. Scroll down. Save as Parquet file. Duplicated. On the left-hand side, there is something called duplicated block. Left-hand side. Left-hand side, buddy. In the middle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, click on that. Duplicated block. Okay, so in make Parquet file, it's showing the red color thing, and scroll down. Scroll down. This is just common code. Generally, any PySpark will have this as their process of doing the map and things like that. So we just need to spend some time, figure it out. I think for each file, it'll just give us a red color or some kind of put your cursor on the left in these icons on the left hand side, the question mark or in the middle. Yeah, in the middle, buddy. There's a question mark, right? Oh, yeah, by the right hand side of that.
This one.
Yeah. Just click on that. Okay. Make sure that the command line arguments are safe. Okay. That is its own recommendations and things like that is what it is giving. So ideally, we'll need to spend some time trying to understand these rules and so on. Okay, Rahul?
Yeah.
Cool. On the left-hand side, you also see size and complexity. Just click on that. Click on size. New lines of code 17 and statements. Okay, it is going very deep and trying to click on complexity, cyclomatic. Click on cyclomatic complexity. And let's see, new code since previous versions. Scroll down. Not much here. It's most of the time showing the same thing, but ideally we will need to figure it out with the guys who are writing this one, the architects and things like that. Pretty.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that's about the Sonar queue. Shall I quickly introduce you the new relic also, Rahul?
Yes. So can we take a break of 5 minutes?
Yeah. Please go ahead. Let me know when you're back, Rahul.
Yes, sir. I'm back.
Okay. Can you see my New Relic screen, Rahul?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, so we'll try to understand a little bit about the New Relic and what it is and things like that. Primarily, it is used for monitoring applications and things like that. And we'll try to look at a case study and try to understand some of the scenarios, how we can use it in an infrastructure point of view is what is going to be our goal, guys. Okay, so we have different kinds of data. Transactional data is generally all the data that is generally saved to database through different kinds of applications. In an enterprise or an organization, there is a finance app, there is an HR app, the billing app, and different kinds of app. And lots of users use them, they save the data. That is generally transaction data. Social networking data is generally the tweets, the Facebook posts, comments, the messages which are coming from the different kinds of forums, groups, discussion groups is generally the social networking data. Then we have the sensor data, which is generally coming from the sensors, the smart cities and things like that. That could be the log data, the Internet of Things and things like that. They are probably detecting the temperature, broadcasting it to a central server. The smart cities are also have these CC cameras, video cameras and things like that. They also are nothing but the sensors data. Customer databases is again nothing but a database with customers' information. Mobile applications are generating a lot of data. So in other words, there is almost everyone who's using the mobile and all the data, how they're using, what are the kind of apps, what they are ordering and what they're looking for is generated using the mobile devices. Then we have the machine generated data, which is nothing but this is imagine a user is using an application. An application is generating the data. It's nothing but the log files are nothing but the application generated data. But the machine generated data is slightly more lower level, where the machine itself is tracking the timestamp and things like that. They also put it back to the log files, but it's the machine rather than the application. On a machine, multiple applications run. And on each application is used by multiple users is generally what it is. Together, all these things are forming the new world of big data. Traditionally, what is different from traditional data and this data is applications. The traditional applications are generally looking at the databases. Whereas when we take all these kinds of data and put them together, that is what becomes big data. It is not only structured, but it is also semi-structured and unstructured data. And monitoring all this data is not easy, not simple. Trying to understand the patterns and the insights from this data is also not easy. That is where the New Relic application comes to our perspective, comes to our rescue. So technology today allows us to collect the data at an astounding rate, which means today almost anyone and everyone are in one way or the other using mobiles. We are accessing the social networks. As we are accessing these things, machines are generating the data. Then we are saving, as we enter some data into the Google or maybe any other applications, when you are placing an order, that data is getting saved to different kinds of databases. So in one way or the other, all the activity that we are doing digitally is kind of getting tracked and saved somewhere to different kinds of data sources, is what it really means. So since around the world, there are millions and billions of people, the volume of the data that is getting generated is exponentially huge, is what it is. And that is what is big data. So huge amounts of data is generated by organizations in today's business environment. So again, the businesses are trying to take all this data and they're trying to make sense out of this. They're trying to understand some useful insights from this data, is what is the current situation. That is where the money is, guys, okay? Because of the enormous data, there is chaos, and when an issue comes, developers take very long time to fix. In other words, the developers, the operations team, and different kinds of people, because of the variety of the data, the complexity is increasing. Because the complexity is increasing, sometimes it is becoming increasingly difficult for them to find the problem. That is where sometimes developers are themselves taking time. Sometimes the other team members also take time in identifying that it's a developer issue, it's a data issue, or a code issue. That is what it really means. So that's where, again, New Relic comes to our rescue. It provides us applied intelligence, which is nothing but the intelligence or the insights from the data. We can try to make sense and we can try to find some insights and intelligence. Full stack observability means it works not only on structured data. Even if we have data sources which are unstructured or semi-structured, we can use the New Relic and monitor it and try to make sense out of it. So that is what is full stack observability. We are able to observe at a real time. That is what is special about it. Telemetry data platform is nothing but where it is allowing us to get this huge amounts of data, big data, and allowing us to save it onto their platform. So we can, so ideally, all the activities that we do on AWS S3, all the logs can be saved to the New Relic data platform. And what happens is it's telemetry. Telemetry means it's kind of, every second, whatever activity we are doing on AWS is getting logged into the AWS CloudWatch and other log sources. All those log sources can be rerouted to New Relic, where the intelligence can be drawn out of. So it is helping in observability. It is referred as an observability platform built to help engineers create more perfect software. From monoliths to serverlets, you can instrument everything, then analyze, troubleshoot, and optimize, all from one place or the other. In other words, more precisely, whether you're using serverless or server, full architectures, microservices, and other kinds of architectures, by looking at the log files, it is accessing the log files and helping us make sense or trying to help us in getting the intelligence is what really it is helping us, guys, okay? Currently, it has 2 data centers in European Union and US. So selecting the preferred region during the account setup process allows you to specify the region where your performance monitoring data will be hosted. In other words, when we open an account, it will ask us to select whether we want it in European region, whether we want to save the data in European region or the US region. Currently, it has only 2 of them. So we can access only in that particular region. We cannot access it in from another region is what it is. Ideally, if we need, there are workarounds, but I don't think that would be really necessary for monitoring. You can also create accounts in each region. You can create separate accounts based on your customers and things like that is what it is. Regions and availability, your choice of data center is not limited by your geographic location. That means you can be anywhere around the world. You can choose either of the data centers. You can choose to create an account with data hosted in either the EU or US region, regardless of where your systems reside. You may be in EU, you may be in Europe, you may want to save the data in US because the data might be used in US region. The application is generating the log files or the log data, which is coming out of your cloud. You purposefully want to save it to US so that another team there wants to use that data. So that is also possible. New Relic offers almost the same active products, features, and performance levels in the EU and what is offered in the US region. So in other words, again, in both regions, the similar features are there. Regions and account hierarchy. If your data is currently being hosted in US, you must create a new account to store the data in EU. You cannot view EU data from US account or vice versa. The data collected remains separate. The data cannot be aggregated. Again, all these things is what is happening is there are certain rules and things like that from European Union versus US governments. But for that reason, all this separate at an architecture level, at a high level architecture level, the data here is not exposed there and the data there is not exposed here is really what it boils down to, guys. That is just to give you an idea, just something to be aware of. Telemetry data platform. It is automatic recording and transmission of data from remote or inaccessible sources to an IT system in a different location for more monitoring and analysis. In other words, more precisely, from a remote source, what we are doing is remote source is maybe a cloud. It could be a cloud, a Google cloud, or maybe an AWS cloud. What we are doing is all our applications are working here. What we try to do is we try to take all the activity from there, we try to transfer it, route it to our IT system, or vice versa. It could be on one cloud, we are plugging it into New Relic, or maybe just another server. We are plugging it into New Relic. How? On a real-time basis. Real-time basis means as it happens. You clicked something, you ordered something, you posted something. All these things as they're happening, all those things are getting immediately saved back to New Relic. And we can configure some certain kinds of alerts and things like that. These alerts help us in, again, in understanding some insights, which is objective of it, guys. So in other words, if you're still wondering what is telemetry, telemetry is, at a real time, as events or the things happen, the data is being broadcasted in immediately. We can take the measures to what to do with them and things like that. Telemetry data may be relayed using radio, infrared, GSM, satellite, depending on the application. So again, that is ideally the data, how it is broadcast and things like that is again taken care of by the application. It might use a satellite or it might use some other way of broadcasting the data and saving it to the servers. All we do is we configure them. That is what we'll try to understand. So the primary benefit of telemetry is the ability of an end user to monitor. So the main objective is for monitoring the state of an object while physically far removed from it. So again, the log files are there somewhere and you're at another place. So what you want to do is you want to create some beautiful charts, visualizations of all the main activities or main things which are happening at the other end of the world where your applications are running. That's what it means. Provides insights into how well your product is working. Enables you to make continuous improvements and introduce new features. And ideally, this is generally taken care of by the product management group. They're constantly monitoring and things like that. They're trying to understand where the problems are, what are the pain points in an application. How do you fix them? Do you need to release a new feature? Do you need to modify an existing feature? And things like that. So that's what it is about. Monitor security, application health, quality, and performance. So you can monitor your application from multiple points is what it provides. So telemetry data platform is a single source of truth for all your operational data. So in other words, single source means it's one place. Whether you have structured data, unstructured data, semi-structured data, or some other kind of binary data, you put it in one place, it makes it look like it's only one place. For you, for the user, irrespective of the kind of data, it just looks like you're saving it to one place. And behind the scenes, it might save it to any other places. That is the water under the bridge, or you don't worry about that one. So it's like single source is what it really means. Empowers you to ask and answer any question in milliseconds, which is nothing but being able to write some queries and being able to understand. So what is that? That's an objective of a BI, maybe in a intelligence application. Most of the modern applications are trying to provide insights like that. And that's where the New Relic comes to your rescue. So get data into the Relic. That is the first step generally we do. We try to hook up the data from our applications. We ingest. Ingest means you're trying to get the data from your application or maybe from your servers into New Relic. Once you get the data is like the water and the insights is like the fish in the water. The New Relic is like a boat which is allowing you to travel there and you try to find the fish. You play around a little bit and you try to catch the fish. Fish is the insights is what it is. So the first thing is you need to have the water. What is water? Water is the data. So what do? You put the water. What do we mean by putting the water? You put the data. Put the data means you're ingesting the data. So New Relic, build agents and integrations. When you enable New Relic, we will see that. We will see an example in a day, maybe today or maybe tomorrow, how we can hook up different kinds of infrastructures. What we have been doing in Ansible at a code level, at a configuration level, the New Relic guys have brought it up at a UI level, have bubbled it up at a UI level, where we're able to configure some of the high level aspects, not very, very low level. Ansible is very, very deep and powerful. You can do very, very low level tasks. Generally, we don't do all those things, but at a high level, some of the infrastructure things from a monitoring perspective, we can go ahead and do it from a New Relic at a UI perspective. We can also expose the New Relic's API in the form of New Relic's features in the form of APIs, REST APIs, and things like that, which means programmatically, developers can access the New Relic and ask it, hey, what is this one? What is the status of this resource? How many servers are there in this state, in that state, and things like that? And they can try to generate their custom reports is what it means. Again, New Relic applications, APIs, SDK. So it has its own software development kit where we can programmatically access that. And you can build custom applications based on New Relic. We'll try to understand we can build custom applications or like custom dashboards here. And APIs, again, that is also programmatic access. There is something called traces, event, metrics, and logs. These are some of the things we need to have a quick idea. We'll try to get an understanding of it. So these are the standard, pro, and enterprise are three things. For us, I think we can use the free one. And here's a quick example of how it could be used in a real world. So imagine a website, and let's say it has a lot of students. What is happening is they're using New Relic to monitor the DevOps lifecycle. And how we will try to understand. What are they doing? They're using it as an APM, application programming monitoring. Application programming monitoring, I think is what it stands for. And what do you monitor? You monitor your infrastructure. There are different kinds of metrics, events, traces, and things like that that you can monitor. That's what the New Relic is very specialized at. And their ultimate objective is to get the insights. Remember, the data is like the water, the insights of the intelligence is like the fish in the water. So the New Relic is your boat which can take you around this data and try to help you is what it is. We can access from a browser, from a mobile, and what it also helps us is it helps us get all the log files, different kinds of data into one place, and we can manage the data. Some of the benefits that they get is end-to-end visibility. So right from beginning till the end, you can understand if there are any problems, where there is no problems and things like that. So it helps us reduce the time. So more precisely, the ops team, the developers team, by having that monitor visibility onto the issues that they are facing, they can catch the errors much more sooner, is what it, and as a result of that, they save time. So insights is nothing but the intelligence, guys, okay? So the COVID-19 checks or record traffic and demand for its services in the COVID period. In other words, not only just the schools, but you take any domain or any one. Due to this COVID, what happened is everybody had to work online. As a result of that, suddenly the amount of work that was being done on the online apps has increased very largely. And what happens, that becomes even more data. The data has increased now. The companies started using more servers, more infrastructure, and trying to understand where is the problem and what's the problem and things like that will take time. So that is where, again, New Relic allowed Check to deliver a high level of performance globally and deliver a consistent platform performance. So no matter what kind of application you have, what kind of data you have, whether you have a single application, one server, hundreds or thousands of servers, we can use New Relic and as a single platform in understanding the insights and the problems and things like that, guys, okay? So problem, a front-end page issuing too many API calls to backend system, which in turn brought down a database. So here is a scenario. Suddenly, because of the COVID, a lot of people started accessing this page because they're unable to go to their workplace. And as a result of that, the servers were coming down. They were hitting their highest thresholds and they were maybe going down, or maybe the hardware was getting impacted because of the any other factors and things like that. And that's what we need to understand. So that is what is end-to-end visibility. So what is solution? You need to do that in less time. That is the goal and the objective. To detect and resolve these incidents is what it is. Whether it is one server or maybe multiple servers, to be able to do it in as quickly as possible will help the business is what it is. Lowering MTTR and save the customer time. So New Relic helped reduce mean time to resolution, lowest to 24 minutes from 197 minutes. So in other words, what was taking close to 3 hours is now being resolved in 24 minutes if there are any issues, if they're in maintenance and things like that. So as a result of that, the customers will be more happy. So what is MTTR? MTTR is like a metric is what it is. So let's see, go back here. Okay. So what we'll do is tomorrow we'll continue with New Relic. We'll try to create Rahul, I may ask you to create a new Relic. It's a free account only. I may ask you to create a New Relic account and we'll get started with New Relic.
Okay. A new server, right?
Pardon me?
Okay, new account for the new relic. Okay.
Oh, you're cutting out, Rahul. I'm not able to hear you, buddy.
I'm saying that I need to create new account, right?
No, yeah, not on AWS. This is on New Relic website.
Yeah, New Relic. For New Relic.
You can create it tomorrow. It's just a 1 minute thing. If you want, you can create it today, but
Okay.
we can also create it tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
For today, I'll stop it here, guys. We'll continue the journey tomorrow and we'll go from there.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Take care. Bye now.